Oyo mintono yontegereta se chinse chiga chabo no mabasoli tuko mna moma etelia kawaida lituko lya Jumatano morobelio korentu asemule na omorandia Pastor Nyang'ate Junior se Joel Nyangoka omorobelio krokonga ero yabasae ime yatoerera amona Ponfex omwenga ono gonkariko baliga nigo chichaso mugaso bweli tukeli gali areronga njungo tokwane tosemanie morobelio ito na batogenda tebune eiki yaera ntu akwanete igoro ya youth leadership na lero nabongane tutokwanere youth and the local church na kipengele kingine tutasungumzia bado hapo so tobasaho suka tomanyanga kitokora oburai wa youth in our churches nekero tuchigokorero morobelio nintware oyo moitaranyare ko aratokwanera bintu bibere bitatu toramanya ki Amine, ebinte bitoko batoko kwana koroba se studio litukase lituko mbigendere tembira se chikanisa cheito naende nse moki munabalishye gosebune kanisa toko play asabana baito abo barabasai Pathfinder Adventurers and ambassadors in our churches. Gobono tigankwaliga ni kegima ekebungo geito kelige gotongosa singenchi yamangana yo aichaka gosoma Exodus 18 ochakiri 13 mpaka 26 lakini yamangana ane gagotokalia 13 21 but select from all the people some capable, one characteristic, capable, honest, those people who fear God and they hate bribes. So these people will be able to solve problems. Shokonyachira se AMANG'AN'AGATE. Gobano ongo kwalia ni umwancho motegera lyo Kisima Radio ekobata kuroega se chinsemo cha Nyamire 89.9 asibali montegera to morobeli okurkunga ero yabasae okorento asimure na Pastor Nyang'ate Junior Jose Joel Nyangoka nyasanya ariko basesenia ekebungo kyane keli na kiyo kango somaiga. This verse set out principles of good leadership that we should follow in our churches and nations. Ngebunge bigango kwanera bire igoro yobora ibuna botakeire asechikanisa cheito na ndebuna tubwena tekobwatia nonya na sense buna tomenya teiga. People are chosen to do not a job not because they are well qualified, but because they are from the same tribe or family as the person who has appointed them. Lero gochora weito kwe viongozi asichikanisa cheito nkelinga na ki gotokare gochora ngatari asinge ncho montare ago koregas korenda otokare gochora bantu nga ori nimo manyete oyo namo chore kiagara no yose itare oyo namo chore kiagara ngo koratora AMANG'AN'AGATE so ebintu mbiro roto bwene te gokora na gotiga waekero tore asamangana iyoborai wechikanisa igaso bwango tigatosabelinde to chake omorobelio ito Yesu tigoba kuna koigwa boneke agro wakoro wanja kwago ikachinse chigato gochako morobelio nasabirenga kabamo na into sesenelio motegera liandonsi asaro mokeno monene elinde kerato gochako morobelio yo kerato aikeiro moelio wanja kwago koreke na kugosaba goita sita Kristo yero mobolio ito. Amen. Lero gonga netieto nyargo kwanera youth involvement in church. Abasae baito asichikanisa, do we involve them in church activities? Gonyororengana na ki ekarto bwata basase chikanisa cheito ntoriko bali baga to exercise their experience, to exercise their skills, to exercise their powers. Yes. Elinde nabaroba kole binte byase chikanisa chabo. Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that the only way in which you need to be involved in the church is through the young program. This is an error. Igonga abasae baito tigatoba echichi egas babwenerete gokora. But there is to be an active Adventist youth society in every church. It is important that the youth program not to be isolated from the rest of the church. Chi program nchire chabasae chire meye kanisa kwa makonyoranga na ki ekero chi program echa chira se kanisa twamanya go chibeke nsemo na basae ntoliko bali bagabuneta keire kwa nyanga abalisia and pastors. Our programs, they are so important than the programs of the youth in the church. And the Karokonyange program ya youth here kanisa, they have have invited their feasters, their choirs, and they look very smart. They are planned well, wamepika chakula vizuri. Kama ya konyangana ki, na liaba alisia mogo chakanki, today we have a collection, nganomo chango mutaitokobeka. Such like things. Tikatoe abasae, libaga, liogo kore mermase kanisa, na abarobe iwengana ki. Yes, we belong to this church, and our identity is in this church. Encourage your church board, your nominating committee, the chairs of various churches committees, the platform elders, all to make use of the talents of young people wherever and whenever and wherever possible. Young people feel committed to a church where they feel needed, valued, and respected. I cannot repeat that. Tumeelewana. Igonga to igure ngikitobwena tegokora. Kile department era se kanisa. It is our responsibility. Lakini bono iga, we have neglected our youths in the church, and now they are walking away from church. Why? We don't involve them in church activities. Kwanya anga toko ba involved in children's story. A lot. Now, na sekito koraba sae, kororeka koba abana, and yet abana mbaro bara ruchi story chaba sae. Chinsa chikare ko mnyoke mono korende tigandi genchera. Na kwana manganara iga, renonta getoko kora mangana ayuti maiwo chago kwana manganandi. Another thing, empowering youth. Empowering youth. Youth are empowered by involvement. Abasae etoko ba empower ekero toko koraki toko ba beke gatigati yaito ba kore emirimo ya Nyasaye bunetakeire igonge gento kerito bwana to korase chikanisa cheito. Let us involve our youths, and that is the only way we can empower them. They need to take ownership of a program if they are going to care about it and to be committed to it. Igonga igochi program chera se chikanisa cheito tigato chiaba sai bachikore nalio emirimo nande okwiwa nalibere iunge kene they belong to that church. Lakini kwa nyoranga na ki abasae bakori kurwa se university. In universities, they are very spiritual, they are very active. Lakini bago chase chikanisa cheito, they are idle, they don't do anything. Why? It's because we don't involve them in church activities. Trusting youth to take leadership and ownership is risk because they will make mistakes. But just as Jesus was patient with the mistakes of his disciples as they learned to serve him, so such leaders who are truly committed to discipling young people will be patient. Yonge kelingana ki tigatonya kole merelia basaba ito magosongo kole ka lakini tobe muna Yesu ngana ki. Let us give room for young people to make mistakes. Tusiwakazie sana. And I don't know whether the church emogo feel better ekeramoko move abasai kurwa sibitabuye kanisa. I don't know. Again tongelingana ki, let us give enough room for young people to make mistakes. Na ande karoba akorire mistake. Let us take our time koba gorora asenchereria wenerete. Chinsa chikare komnyoke lakini ndoche gatore meranie erinko nkwana mangana ya sobwango. Nurturing the youth. Point number 3, nurturing the youth. Yonga tikatuna ko ige kaba sai baito na kobarera asenchere ye wenerete. Youth grow through relationships. Young people in the church, they need love from the family members. They need love from parents. They need love from elders. They need love from deaconesses. They need love from their pastor. They need love from AMO and AWM. Lakini kwa makonyoranga bangina they are fighting youths in the church. Okutaliko bakonya. The best thing ntoko kora tigatosabira abasaba iga nantogende ko ba encourage asikiralinga na libako babago kora. They grow in Christ through relationships with committed adult Christians. Nduwate committed adult bale in the church bali nabo babwena tego segeta abana abayiga bagendere go kina kemoika na bayikere kikere okoganikwa Nyasaye. One example ntubwate example ya Barnabas and John Mark. Barnabas was willing to serve as loving mentor to the young John Mark. So Barnabas yakaira libaga lyokoegeria John Mark akamanyekia wenerete go kora elia akabomo saomuya no bokore liboka. When relationships of this caliber will transform the Christian experience of your young people in the church. Do not assume that nurturing youth, spending time with them, listening to their problems, and mentoring them is solely the task of the youth leader or church school teachers. You as a church leader, church elder, church pastor can have a powerful influence on your young people by entering into relationship with them. Sichasema relationship of love affairs. I know abange to ira advantage. Elders, even some leaders, we have taken advantage of love affairs to these young people. And tuabasaliri obugima bwabo. Igongale gotebanga ki, let us have that spiritual relationship to nurture them spiritually. Asobwango, point number 4. Pastors and elders cooperating with youth. Youth need to see that their elders and the pastors are working alongside them, supporting and getting to know them. Abarandia na abarisha tigani ngotoligie nchara yogo support ya bana abaga. When we have our own meeting as young people, pastor, you can come in, talk to us, practice with us. Even elders, practice with us. Ekerutu arule toko genda na outing, go with us. Wana balisha morororo na nyano morandia. You don't know the activities chiko gendera sawa sai. Egen tongelingana ki 20p tigatobwaterane koranga youth ya ito ya kode gento kieke ya kinire. Nande chi program chire meye kanisa balisha karai karansa mora haba sai morori buna bakora. Kanisa tego chinsemo aba sai nto bwate bale very spiritual. Even than the elders in our churches. Those young people, they need to be involved in these events. Wherever the opportunity arises, a fundraiser, a community work project, even a social event, attend, roll up your sleeves. Yonga nkelingana ki, andonsia somo chango bwaba saole oseni meye kanisa, bataite kuwole vyombo, bataite ko record, bataite gukora community work, ngogenda bali gukora ibibarua segete, ba support kabamo nabarabwo, onya no mote bagwaterio omuntu barete baye guchibeze, genda atina barabwo, bugori nabarabwo, leta, elinda basaba iga, nali bakoigubuya that our pastor is with us and elders are with us. Another point, conflicts between youth and the church leaders. Young people and older people do not always see eye to eye. Ayo arana mine. Wasa entori koligerera nibuya na abayiboli baito osebali toli meye kanisa. Otobegeta maisari ngenchogete gato ya kunyere tinse gosto kayabeka kemberera. Ntori koligerera ni kyagera nga amangana nari totali kogenda naro. Even within the church, even Christian young people have a youthful tendency to question and sometimes even to defy authority. The generation gap can lead to conflict between youth and the church leaders. Onye ntokobeka mangana itobuya na batokoleta affliction in the church. Abasaye bako bolingana ki totebi ngonki mwakanira ntogenda kenyerere hotera lirube koliache tintorangeri osenchirichiro totebi ngonki totago chira, and you don't come out clear kwacha akobatenga as an elder. Nimesema na nimesema hakuna sitarudi nyuma. No, that is not church leadership. The church is a property of God, but not a property of a family or a property of somebody. There is every Christian is entitled to his opinion and decision. So unkelingana ki tigatora aba shabaiga tobategerere na hande to clarify everything. Ama swali babu ata somo tuabo na libara ikerekelia kere okugania kwa Nyasaye. If such a conflict occur in your church, be sure that you and all your church leaders take a redemptive, nurturing approach in their dealings with the youth, rather than harsh, rigid approach. It is important to look at the big picture, and the big picture is Jesus Christ. Yongelingana ki tiatolige onyo muchando yotokeire abarai tiatoi karans. Let those people who are spiritual restore young people baira na senchererie wenata na maswali babwate tobe toko yaira nelia ase obwango egento kende church discipline for youth ngakitogo kora egente kega discipline toko abasaye baito in the church ndererie no kubarusha se bitabu bye kanisa. Yes, ngetinda akana mbarushwa se bitabu bye kanisa because so you know roro morobelio nyasaye. Lakini before tutarakora igo, what are we supposed to do? Wikato ikyange tobakwanere tokore kerikegane iri asebare na baraba igwenga kweli entogose tebeira nereboka abanyene. Lakini ochake we akege kuba muno morisha gusaba igete abasaye barayiga batucyogosire mitu batokoreire kitogo konya basaye in that church. Please humble yourself. While young church members are subjected to the same standards of church discipline as adult members, special care needs to be taken in dealing with the discipline situations involving youth. Tako make your own decision without involving them. Ekiagere kerogo kora igo ngotugutura basaba iga. Igo ligenchera ekero muchando tokeri tako treat as adult people. But treat him na basai ligere liankyo wena tego kora. Yes. Men, young adult, after leaving home and perhaps the sheltered environment of a church school, go through a period during which they do not attend church and do not actively pursue an Adventist lifestyle, though they may still adhere to Adventist belief. If their contact with the church and with all that, igonga ekeraba sai toba eteribaga egasinere barabe bagokora nonyekero bayekorire gasiga even to adult people na oboka banyene bakonyora libaga lyogochicheme kanisa and they accept the faith. So let us know how to deal with conflict or problems amongst the youth. Number 7, youth baptism and baptismal classes. Most young people who grow up in Adventist home choose to join the church through baptism, sometimes during their preteen or teen years. So, igotiga to abasaye baitoli baga ekerokie batiso bachiche na tobasomi bune gwenerete na maswali bako babakoboria tobairanerie so that we may clear and we may give a clear understanding of the church fundamental beliefs, but also, and more important, on saving relationship with Jesus. Young people who choose to be baptized should be understand the full impact of the committee, the commitment they are making. Igonkeringana ki piato encourage abasaye baitoko so ase kirasi kibatiso egera babatiso na nyuma batara abatiso tigato basemi kibabwena tegokora munabona abasaye bakunyoma outside the church nande tuacha kobarusyo boshirika tuacha kobabatisa na inde buya gosa abande basira banyoma bagenda yonto bwente ko basomingana ki inkie omoroberi we kanisa norori egera bamanya nkibagwenote okora. Number 8, transmitting our lifestyle standards to youth. Be a role model to young people as an elder, as a pastor, as a deacon, and leader in the church. Be a role model to these young people. Can they copy your example? Nonyeni inua Bible muna molega. As parents, can your children copy your example? Baka mtoto ago ika sote bangana ki, I want to be like my dad. But young people wale ambao wako kanisani, they cannot hawawezi furahi kuwa example ya papa yake ama mama yake. So tuangalie what we need, what we can do so that we can transmit this lifestyle to our young people. Point in the number 9, youth and church business meetings. Young Adventists rarely attend church business meeting. And ikineken ekiagara church business cheito chinyinge otogo chatwanya gokwanera ebesenere yali etwa segete nkango torarorango gocha tokonya go discuss ya mangana getevi bingane kwanyaranga abaside they are not interested in that. Yekero to business meeting. They are talking about a business meeting that will make the church grow spiritually, that will make the church to move on. Even if they are baptized church members and eligible to do so, of course, they can hardly be faulted to this, since in many churches, adult members rarely attend business meetings either. While you may be working hard to convince adults in your congregation of the importance of attending church business meetings, do not forget the youth. Take time, or have the youth leader take the time. Igongana ki nonye church business activities toteme ko involve abasai baito tunako ba synthesize to batebinga incho erinde bategerere ngikere omuruberi Nyasaye alias church business nari bagocha kumnyenga toko egwo bolisya ngakito wenda kurai kanisa. Number 10, youth and the Lord's Supper. In fact, too many churches, even baptized young people, choose not to participate in the Lord's Supper, communion service, and even more frequent. Nga abasayengo chabaleba opt koria pasaka. Igon kelinga na kibu na balise tigatona ko encourage abasaba iga banyako tumeke pasaka tibaira na magega olio tache tibolinga yale ngonyo rware temuirere pasaka nyomba ali elinde na baro banyakolan. By doing this, young people are learning. Number 11, church leaders need to show support for youth programs. One of the best ways that pastors, elders, and other church leaders can show support for the youth is to actively support their programs. Thank you. I don't want to repeat that. Actively supporting the youth programs. Yekerugwete youth programs chire kanisa kuwa mstari wa mbele. Onye nechibese wako, give them money. Walk with them. Go outings with them. Social Sundays, go with them. Elinde na abarabwa bamanye ekere omorovelio Nyasaye. And the last point, youth and worship in the local church. Give them time. Youth need to feel involved in your church worship. While young and adult may have different worship needs, you and your church worship committee must strive as much as possible to create a worship experience that meets at least some needs for the people of all generations. Titogo korachi worship services ye kanisa chire so boring to young people. To ba enonye choristering, ba okora choristering, ba okorandia. Ba emeremeye ba okora emeye kanisa, and the church will be lively. Na kyoko nyoromo sa akorwa asa tambe oche kanisa gete kyagara e kanisa yoma etenga abasaimba ireli bagali okora emeremo ase kanisa elieta ke. Kento kenenta gete ko kwanera mono 10 ways to transform your church worship services to meet the needs of your church youth. Ja chipoint inchira igai komi ndaite go kwanera chinchira to buena to koragento kieke chinchira to buena to gonchura our worship services chibe chindonge chiwenere echiwanchwa n'abasaye baito egera abasaye baito banyoreri baga byokobera in the church. Number 1, energy. A more energetic, faster paced services make us feel like the congregation really believes. Igonga tikatotwala even sermons abantu mbali bagoche yani nonye no gosome bukwata someti ochaka komeki yani tu sermon ko akorama abantu kurumotwe akobasomera nin ebinte binge tokora yani services tokora makumunta buli bono ga kinki keliye gokoreka. We need young, energetic people. If they somebody who is preaching, I go preach with that power. Because he or she owns the message. Onya no mosae ekerto baetegas agotera nechinguru. Lakini abange baito twabasali kuruchikwa ya twakora asengenchi yokunya ko bagamba gamba. Rero bano tuchi gotema korosia mariogitai ekagara twensi twagotire mariogitai. Gangati gato abasae baito libaga because they are energetic bakolega sitakere in the church. Informality. Youth like to be comfortable, not uptight. Igonga abasae babwenta kwa eguri bagagete bago kore mirimo yabo asibako igugo bare comfortable. Tali asibabekere tight bakasiereire tago kunebintebyo tago ikaranza gabo tago umira nego ikiga tago tenena babere tago they are young people and they are growing. Abande baito bano buna tolega we twarenga abantu ketaba bekubu abasae bono bale bono twarenga babesana gonga tigatoliye nchara toko kwanera abasae baito elini to bameke babe comfortable. Creativity. Number 3, try something new, change the routine. Ngote betenga naki a sermon, ngote betenga Sabbath school lazima ianze ndio sermon imalize. You can change. You can begin with a sermon. A Sabbath school, you go to a sermon, ukimaliza sermon ingia lesson discussion. Hakuna shida. Na si lazima watu wote waende huko mbele, wakae huko mbele etu kwa pulpit wote wamekaa huko. No. Hata preacher anaweza toka katikati agende uchimutuali aga achake korandi. No problem. Kwani procedure nere vekiringa yes into bwate procedure ile draw ira gatabu kali. But it is not permanent, subjected to change. Yonga, sometimes let us allow change. Egertonyane koga accommodate everyone in the church. Again, tokende practicality. Youth want service that gives them something they can apply to their everyday lives. Wana tokurandi tomenya korenta ngoga susuno gancho gunini. No, tigatorandi again tokelia abasai baroche so that they may apply it to their life. Na barabanyare gokonye. Another thing, challenge. We don't want part answers and cliches. We want to think about this, find the principles, be challenged. Abasango takabali a challenge in their life. And try to challenge them. Try to give them questions from the Bible. Challenge their minds. Nande keroko genda asibali. Bae challenge getoko babolia maswali lakini asibali akonya ko ba challenge, finally they will make decisions. Another thing, relevancy. Choose illustration that come from the world youth are familiar with, not only from the adult world. Sincerity. We don't mind sincere emotion. We want a message to come from the heart. Another thing, contemporary. Use current music and the language youth understand. Yes. Another point, uplifting. We definitely want live church with hope and a peace and a close walk with God. We can uplift our young people who are in the church. Variety. Youth like different approaches, different styles, even different locations for worship. Abasaina bakwamu abatuare yentongere tokorokanga nature Sabbath. They can decide to have nature Sabbath and they go out. Lakini mwana kutoto katoba kasierete tutagete basoke bagende. Our young people, they need different styles of leadership, different styles of sermons. Talia marandi ara enchera tuare korandi 19 ka chini na to korandi up to born. Nowadays tell people what you are preaching. Tell people. Vaire mbaka kena bamanyinga na kikweli omuntu yege ntakorandia nkiwenerete. Wa nochinga chinsa cyane cya minyokire ahondo chingango tigaraga muri acharukeli wa matera ngabira atatu igane egere tumago swasumuro belion kone nintagete koena na officers wa AYS Society Adventist Youth Society officers mbarabiaba. Number 1, tobwato muntu kurukwe leader. His task is to guide, counsel, motivate, and alliance with the pastors and church board. Now, another leader is assistant leader, whose role is to assist the leader and the chair AYS meeting in the leader's absence. Aya, oyo nda akorokunga te secretary treasurer. Eroli ya enererie no record activities abasabago kora o send reports to the conference youth director na go keep track on AYS budget. Igonga evinte vinge garo molikinero kulikanse. Another person, the chorister and the other musicians. Abanabu abantu bakorenta mangano musiki asechi youths. Igonge kero youths musiki obeiro otagwenereti abanabu abantu bwenta go face na kobabole talinga youth yonsi. Papana, we have leaders we need to approach. And if we want to talk to young people, first of all, talk to their leaders, because they listen carefully to their youth leaders than you, even you elders. So let us give them time. Nandonyo tutaito kobanyora tuetere kurwa sabara ibabu. Omora yondenoro lio the sponsor, a church elder or other qualified board member, whose role is to work with the youth leader in bringing the needs of AYS before the church board. Nga oyonere na bago konya koreta activities chabasae babiri bakogamba bakobanga gochicha ase a church board. Ona bondo chingatiganda ikiria iga ponvesia tucharukiria matera abira atatu iga natonyore muktasari wa pali wa saa 9 alafu togende nige pindi geito yotore magotegerera uyoramo na ino ase studio gakorokwa Nyang'ate Junior or Pastor Joel Nyangoka ukwarentero umurobiri okorokwa ero yabasaye kurwegase radio yaito ya Kisima 89.9 Chinsemo cha Nyamira Conference. Nande onko gosabangana ki if you have not subscribed to my YouTube, I am yoka makase YouTube yane korokunga Pastor Nyang'ate Junior. Subscribe. After umesubscribe, guza kengele na hiyo itakwambia wakati nimeweka mahubiri yangu pale.